proudest day, and the proudest time in the seat of a rally car, because that day and that hour and those minutes, I got the bit between my teeth. You know, I really stood up and was counted and said, this is not getting away. I remember when we pulled on our helmets and Donald says to me, what are we doing? I said, we're going for gold, Barrett. That's all was said. I can still picture that run. That was just the best run ever.
Welcome along to Krunching Gears, the rally podcast. The 2025 season is still flying in. We're nearly getting to an end of it. And please like, share, rate, subscribe. But Connor, this week we're going to look back at Donegal Forestry, and there's a few tales within the story there, really, isn't there?
Yeah, look, great event, well run, great entry, great bit of competition, and as you say, yeah, a couple of little interesting stories that we picked up on and thought, let's get a slightly different angle on the rally.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah, we speak to the overall winner, Eamonn Kelly, who first outright won. You know, yes, he's won JWRC events and one thing and all, but this is his first outright one. Fantastic there. And then in the two-wheel drive, then Marty McCormack and the BMW. Like, we've seen the development that's been not in a very short time where that car has come from to where it is. So we're going to speak to Marty and Mats van der Brand and their thoughts ahead of the RAC rally, as well as talk about the Donegal Forestry. And then a car we normally see out in Shane McGirr's hand, the mighty Lada. It was out in the hands of Daniel Breslin. Daniel never competed in the list before, and he finished fantastic fourth overall in the two-wheel drive as well too. So we're going to hear the story of how that come together and his thoughts of driving on gravel. So yeah, Connor, as we say, we always like the wee nuggets, I suppose would be as good a word as any.
That's it. Yeah, look, these are the things that just give that bit of personality to an event, and you know the stories that we like to bring to the audience, so they can get, I suppose, a feel or like we're all used to getting the results and what's following things on social media, but it's that story that's happening behind the scenes that's what we want to dig out.
That's for sure, yeah. And like a great rally, very close to home for me. Like the stage is 15-20 minutes away. Brilliant.
Carlsberg did rallies.
Yeah, that's the one, yeah, that's for sure. You didn't even have to be up too early, and home here as well too, a good time too. So yeah, great rally. You know, it seems to be coming across from the competitors, anybody I spoke to, more than happy with what the club presented to them. Seemed to run fairly well too, and all too. An issue in the second stage, but I think that was somebody had parked in the wrong place or something, what I gather. Unfortunately they lost that, but everyone else seemed to run on time, good crowds about, and as you said earlier there, the action on the stage is top class. Like whenever you know, Eamonn Kelly just, David Kelly finished second, was only a few seconds behind. Unfortunately he had a spin on stage 4, I think it was, or stage 5. And that almost dropped him back into the grasp of Jordan Hone as well too. So yeah, a brilliant rally, some great battles right throughout the top 10. And then the two-wheel drive, as we say, Marty McCormack took the one, Ben McFall. You know, these Rally 4s, I joked with Johnny Baird last week, it's not going to be too long to some of these Rally 4 guys, not too long until they won the two-wheel drive. He wasn't too far away. And then third then was Q McQuaid. And like, he only pipped Daniel Breslin first time out in the gravel in the Lada, so that was some battle there too. So yeah, and then the juniors, what can we say? Aidan Ray's going to have a few headaches now in a couple of years' time. The two boys, Matthew and James, like both of them on the podium. James taking the one, Matthew second. Like there's an in-car up there of James's first stage. It's an absolutely cracking, you know, Peter Ward, he shouts at him a few times to slow down a bit. But it was a cracking time, cracking stage. But as I say, Ian's going to have a headache in his hands now in a few years if them boys start moving up. So great. And James McShay then also taking the championship, took second overall in the Junior 1000s at the weekend, took the championship. Have to say, like, you know, the guy has a real natural talent, and then with a father and a mother that's both mad into the rallying, he had no choice in the matter. Like the McShay family, and never mind them, the McDade family, the history there is there as well too. So yeah, he has good genes and well fit to drive.
Absolutely, and that's what we love to see. It's that talent coming out, and that talent getting the opportunity to come out and compete properly, and they did. And like when you look back at that event, like some cracking lengths of forestry stages as well.
Yeah, like a 14 kilometre and a 16 kilometre, kind of unheard of, especially over here, like, so that is, a top class. Well done to the club and all involved there, yeah. So, first of all, I think we'll cut across and we'll hear from our winner, Eamonn Kelly. And I started out by asking him, what was it like to get that first one?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's something you always think about. Your first overall win. Well, not even think about, but I suppose aspire to do. Win a rally overall. At least I've something I've always thought about since I started rallying. The idea of winning a rally overall, and guess I've grown up around Dad finally achieving overall victories. So, yeah, something that I've always wanted to experience myself, and yeah, this weekend we got the opportunity to do that. It was really, really nice to get the chance to go out in a top car, and a very competitive car at that, which Skoda was. It's a fantastic piece of kit, and yeah, this the opportunity and package was there for us to do it, and yeah, thankfully we did, and it's a really, really good feeling, and like you said, close to home, which is even better. Donegal town is my local town, and even though they're roads that I don't know, you still feel that you're close to home, and driving on road sections that and stuff like that, and seeing familiar faces everywhere. So yeah, it's just a really, really special feeling, and it was just all about going and enjoying a rally with no pressure, and the enjoyment of driving a really great car on good roads. And after the disappointment of Central Europe, it was a big disappointment, because I always go out to every event to try and do my best and put so much effort into everything, and I don't settle for anything but my best. And yeah, the performance didn't reflect anything like that, and yeah, it was a tough one to take. So to get back out in a rally car and just enjoy the feeling of driving, which is why I do the sports, why I'm into rallying. It's why I ever got into it, because I enjoy driving something fast, and the feeling that you get from doing that. That was the idea of going out to do this rally. I just wanted to enjoy every corner, and that's exactly what we did from the first stage. We just enjoyed the feeling, and I was driving with a smile on my face, and disappointed when I seen the finish board on every stage, because I wanted to keep going. And yeah, look, when you're enjoying yourself, then the times come. And but yeah, it wasn't about even though the result was really special, and it was an amazing feeling. The main thing was just about going and enjoying driving, and remembering why I love the sport.
Yeah, because like Donegal on a fantastic event there at the weekend, a 14 kilometre and a 16 kilometre stage, like that was that's unheard of really in Irish forestry rally, and like we're normally used to maybe 10, maybe at best, but a lot of very short stages in the forest. To get in, get really your teeth stuck into like a 14 and then roll into a 16, that must just, as you say, just really just put a smile on your face, and it gives you such a buzz.
Yeah, 100%, and it's fantastic that they did that, and fair play to them. Fair play to them even in the first place for getting the event up and going again at a later date this year, because obviously it was meant to happen back in January or February. So fair play to them for pushing that and giving everyone the opportunity to go out and experience the event, and let them showcase as a motor club what they can do in terms of forestry rallying as well. Because I feel like maybe we're forgotten a bit in terms of our forestry, considering how strong we are with our tarmac rallies. So it's great to give the guys a chance to showcase what they can do in that regard. But yeah, the stage lengths were really good. In any rally, when you're driving, sometimes it can take people like 5 or 6k before they get into this sort of a groove and confidence, and allow that confidence to flow, and then the adrenaline's up, and you start to drive better and better as the mileage goes on. But if you don't have the length of the stage to do that, you don't get into that flow. And especially for younger drivers and stuff, I feel like that's where I learned a lot. Whenever I used to get into stages that were longer, I'd naturally just start pushing that a little bit more and more and more and get more confidence with the car. So yeah, having the stage length to do that is really important. And yeah, back to what you said, the enjoyment factor of it, you just get into this flow and it's just constant enjoyment. And yeah, it really makes the whole event special.
Yeah, because you mentioned, like Donegal, we're kind of sort of like renowned for being tarmac, and it's as you say, the forest is almost forgotten. But to see the number of Donegal competitors on the entry list and on the result sheets as well too was pretty special as well. Like yourself and David Kelly, another man from Donegal town, had a real ding-dong battle.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, David was going really well, and I think even at one stage there was only like on one stage 0.4 of a second between us on one stage, which is great to see. And you always want a bit of a battle, and yeah, it's there was plenty of people having great runs, and as you said, people that don't usually drive in the woods that were all breaking out forestry cars and jumping into cars for the first time in the woods just to support the local event and give it a crack. And I think everyone really enjoyed it. And yeah, like even Daniel Breslin there in the Lada. And again, I don't think it's certainly been a long time since he's driven on gravel, if he has ever. And other local guys, Rory Thomas and Stephen Fury, and just people that supported the event, got out, and it was great to see everyone out and enjoying it. And it's what it's all about, getting the use of these great roads that we have, and enjoying every bit of them, and enjoying the crack. And everyone had the crack during the event and after, and yeah, so nice to be around familiar faces and just join the buzz of rallying.
Conor, you want to jump on it?
Yeah, I suppose, Eamon, like, into the Skoda first time competitively, and you've been driving a Rally 3 all year. Like, how much of a step up is it? What do you have to change? Or is there anything you're changing about your style of driving for, the Rally 2?
Yeah, it's quite different in the sense that the car is capable of a lot more. But you have to try and, like with the Rally 3, I'm used to driving it now fairly close to its limit, I guess. I'm sure there's some expert around the world that'll say, well, no, you're not close to its limit. But I'd like to think at times I probably am. So the Rally 3, you kind of feel like you're really exerting everything out of it all the time because it doesn't have the power, and you have to get the most out of every corner to carry the speed on the exit. The Rally 2 is very capable. It has so much torque, and I guess it's adapting to driving the car clean and smoothly, that you're not trying to be bullish with it or aggressive, and let the technology do its thing. And it was adapting to that, really. And the speed doesn't feel like, the speed is higher, yes, but it feels very, very comfortable because the car's so capable, and the suspension's amazing, brakes are amazing, so you feel very comfortable at the speed. But it's about getting the most out of the car's actual capabilities. So I felt like I was probably only scratching the surface of what the car can do, I guess, because they're so amazing in terms of what they can do. And it has all the go in the world, out of corners and stuff like that. So yeah, I was just playing around with it and seeing what it did in certain scenarios, and how the gears work, and but overall, I suppose coming from the Rally 3, it's 4-wheel drive, so that general feeling of 4-wheel drive doesn't change. Your driving technique and all that is more or less the same principle. So yeah, it's that I suppose FIA pyramid is quite good in that sense, because you jump from the Rally 4 then to Rally 3, and you learn 4-wheel drive at a slightly slower pace, and then you jump into Rally 2, and I guess you can adapt quite quickly. Because we did a fairly brief enough test on the Tuesday night of the week of the rally. I wouldn't say it was ever anything extensive, and didn't change any clicks in the car, really. It was quite comfortable with it. It was just about feeling the car and learning it, and yeah, from the word go, we were able to drive it on a relatively decent pace.
And compared to the Polo, the R5, you would have had experience in that. And obviously that Polo DNA is in the Skoda. Is the Skoda, again, is it a huge step up from where the Polo was?
I wouldn't say it's a huge step up, but it's certainly, it's a well-rounded car in all areas. It's hard for me to give an accurate comment on that, because when I was driving the Polo, I probably didn't have the same experience that I have now. And my confidence is a lot higher now in what I can do on gravel. So I'd need to drive a Polo now back to back it, and I could probably give you a better answer. But yeah, there is certainly a similar feel to both of them. I'd say the Skoda just seems to have that edge on that torque and power and stuff. But yeah, there is that. You do feel like it has a similar feel for sure. Because they're different cars. When I drove the Hyundai as well, and there's a different feel to that altogether. So yeah, they're similar in nature. But as I said, I feel like I'm just a better driver now than I was back then. So it's yeah, driving's probably a lot better than it was then.
And Max McRae used the same car in the Cambrian the previous week, so it was very good of him to set the car up for you for Donegal.
Yeah, that's it. That's why I didn't need to change any clicks. It was well set up apparently. Made sure it was left the same. So big shout out to Max and Cameron for doing a great job there. But yeah. No, look, it's everyone says that the Skoda as a car is really, really user friendly, and no matter where you are or what kind of surface you're on, you're always kind of close to the right window in terms of setup, you know. Which, and I totally get that. I can see that that is the case. But yeah, as I said earlier, it was more about me just adapting my driving to the car, and once it feels somewhat okay, you just go and enjoy it and don't think about it too much. Just drive.
Yeah, and there's something very poignant about Saturday as well too. An event your dad won in 2010 with John McCafferty sitting beside him. The sponsors of the event, McCafferty's Bar, which was originally, you know, in the McCafferty family, we now see what the boys have done with that name and took it worldwide. You know, do you feel that kind of, or do you sense that kind of sense of history almost?
Yeah, definitely. I remember being in Donegal town when I was 10 or 11 back then. Really vividly. I remember waiting at the finish ramp for about an hour for the cars to come in, and being very excited. And I was out spectating on probably roads that were similar to what we were rallying on, if not some of the same stretches. So yeah, I remember the day really, really well. And yeah, being of course, I think it would have been Dad back then. I was obviously in the Group N cars, so he won some overall rallies, but he mightn't have just had the same plethora of wins as he had in the Focus. So winning a rally overall was a big deal back then. So I remember that sense of pride and that feeling, even just from my side. So can imagine how it felt for him. But yeah, it was nice to kind of come full circle and do the same there on Saturday. So yeah, definitely it was nice. It was sort of fulfilling a bit of a childhood dream in the same location.
And but as you say, like, what the weekend has really done, it has really reignited your love and why you go rallying. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah, I'd say I wouldn't even say reignited it, because it's always there.
Yeah.
That'll never go. But sometimes after a disappointing result, you just need to be reminded. And yeah, it was. It's funny. It's always words of wisdom from Ari Vatanen that seem to creep in situations like that, because he does genuinely always ring me whether things are going good or bad, and he just said to me, like, you know, all you need to focus on is the first corner of the next stage you do. He says once you nail that first corner, he's like, you'll forget about everything. And that literally was the case. You're just happy and driving again, and now I'm thinking of what's next, and you know, thinking of what we can do next year. And you're learning from your mistakes in the past, but you're very much looking forward to what the future might hold.
Yeah, and you know, you're talking. Oh, sorry, Connor, you're going to jump in there.
I was only going to say, you know, and obviously, look, you're still looking at your plans, but having had the run in the Skoda, you know, is it hard to think of stepping back to the Rally 3? Is it the kind of Rally 2 really where you want to be at?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's probably the right time to move on as well. You know, I've done my fair share of driving in the Rally 3 car. It's been 3 years now. I feel like I proved my pace the best of times in the Rally 3 as well, and I've got everything out of the Rally 3 that I need to get out of it. You know, we've gone to plenty of events, and mainly across Europe that, you know, obviously I haven't done that much at home in a Rally 3. But I've gone to events across Europe where we've fairly pushed on and had good results, so in overall classifications and against Rally 2 cars. So, you know, I feel like I've learned how to drive a car on the limit, and okay, sometimes over it, but on the limit and pushing something and finding every bit out of my driving that allows me to get there. So that's the point of the sort of feeder series. You know, you learn how to push something, and it's no different to Rally 5, 6, Rally 4, J1000. Everything is about exerting the most out of what you have, and until you do that, then think about moving on. You know, it's always the model we've gone by anyway, at least. There's no point driving a fast car until you can drive something slower on the door handles. But yeah, I feel like it probably is the right time to move to a Rally 2 car. We obviously showed that we do have some of the pace required to drive and win rallies. So yeah, it probably seems like the right move, and it will be 99% the chance for 2026. But obviously still in the middle of making plans right now.
And I suppose Eamonn, the man beside you, and it's been through everything with you this year, Connor, like his second overall one now, but he seemed to get as much enjoyment out of the weekend as you did.
Yeah, absolutely. He, I know he's won a rally overall before, but he always did talk about wanting to win one together. So yeah, it was nice, and yeah, it was great for the two of us. Something we've wanted for a while. So it was. I was delighted for him, and he obviously deserves it. He done a fantastic job all day as always, and yeah, he was. You can see his love for motorsport too. He went straight off to do a night nav after the podium. He left no time to spare. So yeah, that's again true motorsport fan right there. So he wasn't hanging around. So I made up for it though for him. I stayed around and looked after everyone in the bar. So, but yeah, Connor did the night nav, and yeah, no, great day, great weekend for both of us. So, and yeah, I think I need to probably thank as well the lads at RLA, because they did a great job in providing a good car, and you know, they're fantastic team and service as always. So I mean, it's obvious that car's won 2 rallies back to back now on the hop. So yeah, it's a great car, and for anyone that can do it, it's really worth jumping into it and experiencing it, because it's a serious package.
For sure. And like the MA Academy has given you great backing all year too, and like has made you the driver you are too as well.
Yeah, 100%. It's nice to kind of finish off the year on a positive like that. And yeah, exactly. I wouldn't be able to come and win an overall rally if it wasn't for the experience that I've had in the last 3 years. And that experience is largely down to everything they've pushed me on to do, and pushed me to improve in all the areas I needed to improve on. And, you know, you don't just become any or somewhat fast without being pushed in all the areas in the background and your preparation and everything. So yeah, it's largely down to them. So I'm one of the lucky ones to be involved. Yeah, and a small result like that is always a nice bonus for them, and it always it shows you know, the results of all their hard work.
Yeah, and the man we mentioned earlier too, your dad. I know he couldn't be there on Saturday, but I would say he was delighted that you've squared that circle almost as well too.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you know, he was definitely delighted, and I'm sure he always said it was only like a matter of time, but still, it's always nice to do it. And he, yeah, he's always here. Look, whether it's a good or a bad day, he's always full of support, which is the main thing. You know, that's more important than anything. And I'm very lucky to have someone in my corner like that that's able to support me. And yeah, very lucky. But yeah, I think we had this chat before where it's like, obviously, I spent my whole childhood supporting him and being at every rally. So yeah, it's nice that he's just as supportive when I'm rallying, and I certainly feel that anyway. So it's like I said, I'm very lucky.
Yeah, and not a line I ever thought I would say, but in the words of Ari Vatanen, keep on focusing on the next corner.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and yeah, I don't have anything more to add to that. Yeah, that's a bit of advice for everybody.
Huge thanks to Eamonn, and congratulations. And you have to remember, it's 2 years since Eamonn really properly sat in an R5 car. So like to jump into the Skoda Rally2 and get it to that level more or less straight away, like it really was a strong performance, Kevin.
That's for sure. Yeah, like, and you know, as I say, we said at the very end there, you know, we're looking forward to seeing what's around that next corner, because like it is, yeah. For what, Eamonn's 26, 27 now? I think he's a very bright future ahead of him.
Yeah, no, he definitely does, and definitely. And speaking of a bright future and an interesting one, it's the continued development of that BMW M3, and what do you call it? In no better hands than Marty McCormack, and also we have Mats van der Brand, who is doing the work on the development of this car. Like, we've seen it as a fantastic tarmac car, both for stage rallying and also on the racetrack. But the work that's gone into pushing this into the as really equivalently strong gravel spec.
Yeah, because whenever we heard that the M3 was going to go on the gravel, I was like a bit dubious about it. But as you say, no better two men than to put the shoulders to the wheel, and to see it all come together there at the weekend, Donegal, and the announcement that Marty is going to do the RAC in the car as well. We had to find out more about it. So, we're better to hear it from than the horse's mouth. And you can just imagine himself and Mats van der Brand, two characters, two absolute gentlemen, two comedians as well too. But it's a very interesting conversation. I think you'll agree. But first of all, I started out by asking Marty, what was it like to have Rory Kennedy sitting with you at the weekend?
Oh, it was absolutely unbelievable. When the opportunity, when Barney was obviously had pre-committed to sit with Greg this weekend or last weekend in Portugal, the first name that came up was Rory Kennedy, because I wouldn't have known Rory really well. I knew him, through sitting with Gary at different times and stuff, but I really got to know him well when he started sitting with Donna in the BMW and we're doing the European events, and you're out there for a lot of time, and there was spare time in the evenings and stuff, and we met up, and what a great person, what a gentleman, to be fair. And I didn't know if he would take the opportunity or not, but when I asked him, he said he agreed to it. He said yes, and I was, I felt a bit of pressure with it, really, because this guy's a lot of fast drivers over the years. He's somewhat of a hero to us. We all watched him in the glory days. But he is he's good fun. He's a good guy to be around with. So that was it. For me, really. But no, very, very, very meticulous, a lot of attention to detail. You can see why he is, one of the best. And I was very flattered to have him sit with me, and really, really professional, really good at his job. Good fun, good enjoyment, as we have out of our rallies. It's necessary. And but when it comes down to it, very professional, very good at his work, I have to say. Yeah, very good.
Yeah, and the club put on a great rally for you. Long stages. Unfortunately, lost one, but that was probably through no fault of the club's. Just one of those things.
Here, I have to say, what a great effort from the club to run a gravel rally in November in Ireland and have an entry that was packed. Yeah. And it was great to see the efforts that the club went to for the stages, the conditions that they're in, the ROs, the marshals, everybody, the organisation, everything was so smooth and so welcoming, as Donegal are. Donegal people are welcoming. They are. They're only over the road from us, and they love to see the new car, the different car coming. As I say, the stages were really technical, really demanding, and really good condition. And it is great to see what Motorsport Ireland has done with the junior category and all that, because you see that all out there, all the young boys racing for the championships and stuff. Fair play to young McShay there. He got a great result. Congratulations to him. And it's great to see that initiative coming through with young people in motorsport. Yeah. And it's great to see and they put all that together, and what I think was a great event.
Yeah. Because, at 16 years of age, James McShay has won the championship. At 16 years of age, I was driving up and down the back lane, and that was a bit high. I don't know, you were probably already quite familiar with a rally car yourself.
Well, no. I was pretty familiar with maybe a Sarah. and snow and ice up the back mountain. I knew how to put a radiator and a front panel on the Sarah. That's I had them today. They were about 50 quid a piece then. But that was it. That's what you round the fields and round the lanes, and you know what I mean. All them things. That's where we were at. To us, motorsport and rallying was so far away. It was something we hope to do someday. And to see young people like that getting an opportunity now, it's great. It's great to see people at it. It's great to see the youth coming on through the initiatives, through Motorsport Ireland and these prizes and all. Yeah. I have to say, compared to when I was of that age, or even in my 20s, there really was no structure. There was no system. Not everybody looked at the FFSA in France. I think in France, the way they did the federations with SEBs and all that there, and we had nothing like that. Yeah. Yes, the Motorsport UK tried it with Team UK and things like that, but there really was no support package for good drivers. But I have to say, fair play to the whole team at Motorsport Ireland and John Coyne and all the guys. It's great to see them putting a structure in place and actually supporting and getting the financial backing for these drivers, you know?
Yeah, because now there is a ladder, because like, you know, you see with a man not too far away from you, Josh McGirr, like, you know, the dream's not impossible.
No, the dream's not impossible. Like what young McLean has done there in a very short space of time has been absolutely excellent. You know, and there's been lots of hurdles, lots of struggles. You know, he's in his first year this year, but here, fair play to the lad. You know what I mean? And I always say that to him. He made he's made great work out of a great opportunity. The opportunity was there, and he took it hands on, and he run with it. And I have to say, he's done it well, very well.
He has, yes. You know, he took it on, and like, you need big shoulders to carry that as well too, because there's a lot of eyes on you.
There's a lot of dynamics as well. You know, I think when you've been rallying yourself a while and done a few WRC events and with teams and things that's going on, there's a whole lot of dynamics that the general public don't see, and things that have to be managed. And as a lad of that age as well, like I was older when I done a lad of that age till get to that point in sport and take all them things on and deal with them. And I tell you what, there's a whole different world out there. And for hats off to him, because the work doesn't stop when you get out of the car. The work starts. Yeah,
that's for sure. And it's very like yourself too. He has a very strong family around him as well, who seem to be very supportive and 110% square behind him.
But I tell you something, I have never seen the family, I don't think, ever like it. You know, there's always a McLean at the rallies. If Desi or Josh or anybody doing a rally, what a great family, and you know, wider family of support. Yeah. It's not just mum and dad; it's the whole cousins, uncles, aunts. Everybody's there. And I tell you what, they all come out in force with every one of them's rallying. They're always good to chat to, have the crack with. No, it's and that's, you know, Josh is taking that on and grew up with that, with Desi and stuff rallying, and then taking it to the next level. You know, it's great to see such a family that supports motorsport getting on like that. You know,
that's for sure. That is for sure. And then getting back to yourself, then too, like I would say it was a big shock to everybody to see the idea of getting the M3 competitive in gravel. We know how good it is in tar. Like, it is a world beater. This man Mats has made it one of the best historic cars out there. What notion come on you to try and prove it in gravel?
Can we talk to that madman over there? Somebody convinced me.
Yeah.
Well, honestly, I had the idea in mind of 1.5 years ago, but I never went through with it. Then I had a customer from France, and we were speaking about gravel rallies, and I said, you know, I would actually like to build a gravel M3. And then he said, you know what, just do one for me. And then we just started with a project slowly, but I didn't put any time. So what we basically did, we just took asphalt M3, changed a bit the body shell, changed some protection, put some protection, I mean. Then I was standing still for half a year because we were just too much work with the normal rally cars and ever. And then at some point I was speaking with Marty, obviously because of Donegal with the E36. And I said, you know, I'm working on a gravel car. And he said, well, if you get that to work, I'm very interested. And then I was like, well, if he's interested, maybe I should actually do something on the car. So then in August, as I started a company with Tom Piri in France, he said also, okay, I'm also interested in a gravel car, see if we get it from the ground. And I said, okay, if you can organize me a test base, I will organize a car, but I want to ask one driver to come and join us for the test, and that was Marty then. So we actually started to put a lot of effort in the gravel car this June, so it's really short. And then I phoned Marty and said, look, spoke about it in Donegal, you're interested to come over? He came to the test in the south of France, 30 degrees or even hotter, I think. Was warm, very bumpy road, very bumpy. And then he was actually impressed by the car. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's how.
Oh, yeah.
He was very impressed. And then
I think it was the heat.
Yeah, and then he was like calling me every day, like we need to do something with that. And I say, yeah, I believe we should. And then we start talking, and he said, oh, maybe we should do, you know, some. We actually had a plan to do some more rallies in the E36. Because obviously that thing has a lot of potential, but we need to get it work at the Irish Star. But anyway, then Marty said, you know, RAC is this year, and if you get that M3 to work, I'm willing to give it a go. I say, well, we have some work to do then. And then obviously we did one rally what ended very negative, but the speed was really good. Like the speed was. Even I was seeing Marty's onboards, and the car looked so easy to drive. And that was also what Marty and Barney said. He said the car is so easy. So then,
right, man, keep it down.
I don't say I didn't say fast. I said easy.
You said easy,
I said easy. I said easy. And then it was actually in the beginning I was pushing a lot to do it, and then actually Marty started to push me a bit more to put more time in the gravel car, and I didn't say no. So even after our accident, I made sure me and Marty we put our hands together, and we did another gravel car in a very short time.
Mm-hmm.
We did another rally. There we were very misfortunate with the gearbox, a very strange problem. We had it a few years ago, then didn't came up, and then with Marty we had actually 2 gearboxes broke within 8 kilometers, Marty? 10?
Yeah.
1?
8 and then 1.
And then we are like, shit, we really want to do the RSC, and okay, we need to do another test and rally, and then Marty obviously did the rally last weekend.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess, look, I was that much impressed with the car and knowing Mats and his attention to detail and the way he works and his passion about this, that even with coming out of the Cambrian, with doing 0 miles really, 9 kilometers and 2 gearboxes, that I committed to doing the RAC before last weekend because it had to be done in time. I know the man. There was no better. There's no better reflection of this than when we went to Donegal this year. Everybody, from Recce to signing on to everything, says, "Why are you back in the E36? Sure, went nowhere last year." I says, "But guys, you don't see what I see."
Mm-hmm.
And I know the E36 is a project. We should do more with it. I should do more rallies with it, but we're just busy in life and things.
Mm-hmm.
But we do then move at it for Donegal, and everybody then stood back then after the Friday in Donegal this year.
Mm-hmm.
But I knew it was there.
Yes.
And that's the thing. When you know it's there and you know the guy that's behind the car is developing, he's lying in bed at night thinking about shock absorbers and better ways of doing things. That's the guy you're working with.
Yes.
So, when you have that experience behind you and you know the guy, then you say, right, let's go for this. If it wasn't Mats, and I know I wouldn't be doing this, and I wouldn't have committed to doing RAC with a car that I didn't finish a rally with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because if you didn't have the faith, it would be very easy just to step back into your escort and stick with what you know. But it's a leap into the unknown, but it's not the unknown because you have this man who lives, breathes, eats, sleeps rally.
Correct. Yep. And you can see when in the passion, like in Sturius last year, when we won Sturius against the Zippos Audi, was a tooth and nail bite or fight to the very, very last stage, and you seen him and his father and how the joy in their faces when you won the rally, and that for me, that's rally, and that's the people I want to surround myself with when I go rally. So it's important. That's as important to me than anything. That coming from the family and John McKillop and all with the Escort, to find that in a new vehicle with Mats, it's just brilliant. I love my Escort. Mats has sat with me in the Escort himself. He's seen what he was up against. A guy that was using an older car but knows it like the back of his hand. I'm rallying the Escort since 2007, the same shell. But for me, I've sort of been there, done that.
Yes.
It's time for something more exciting. I had looked at doing R5 stuff or Rally2 stuff, as they call it now, and things like that. It didn't really excite me. This excites me, working with these cars, rear-wheel drive cars, older cars, and it brings a passion to the sport, I think, that you don't get with the modern vehicle.
No. Uh-huh. Yeah, because Mats, from you hear his passion, you have to bring that too. You have to bring your A game. You have to bring your best, everything you've got. You have to throw it at this project as well.
Yeah, I do. But for a guy like Marty, it's a pleasure. For me, I don't see it as a. Okay, obviously it costs a lot of time, but for me it's also a lot of joy. Like when we did the testing, of course I'm always very tight, but I mean, I really enjoy. And also when Marty did the rally last weekend, I want to know everything, every stage. We try some things. I want to know everything. Even when Rory is involved was very nice because obviously I know him when he's with Donna.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice also to speak with those guys. They are, and for me, what is the biggest how do you say, the biggest positive to work with Marty? He actually understands that it's a technical sport. You have a lot of drivers. If they break down, it's the end of the world.
Mm-hmm.
And for Marty, it's not like that. He's like, okay, I have the feeling I don't need to have all the weight on my shoulders alone. So that's for me a very big push forward. Like I know I'm not doing this project alone. Sometimes you do something and okay, I need to fix everything myself, and If it doesn't break down, okay, customer is happy. If it breaks down, I have a lot of drama. And I know with Marty, I probably make more drama than him when we have a DNF. So, so yeah, and it's the same. It's the same with the E36. Like I was really good at, but Marty was like, "Look, Mats, we did one day without problems. The car, we were in P2 just behind the Darian. We did fucking 50 kilometers of test against guys who drive this car for years. So we know the potential is there, and that we had the same with the gravel and tree. Sometimes you just step in a car and you know, okay, it works. But it just has to come out. And this, okay, for sure, for the RSC, there will be a lot of pressure because you know how people are in general. Yeah. If you win, they will say, yeah, the M3, blah blah blah. And if you lose, you will say, yeah, you see, it's not so easy to have a competitive car, to make a reliable car because the Escort this, the Escort that. But like the good thing was with Marty and actually with Barney as well, they think about the long term. They don't think about one day or one event or whatever. They think about. Okay,
the bigger picture and such.
Yeah, they see the bigger picture, and this is for me a big positive, and that's also why I could say I would die for him. Like you really want to do whatever it takes to make sure it works. And I know the feeling is mutual because otherwise he wouldn't do this project for me.
No, that's right. That's why we're here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and have you had a comparison, like a back-to-back test with the Escort just to see what the differences is, or is there any comparison that can be carried over? Or is it better going in with a fresh sheet of paper, maybe?
No, we did the back-to-back with the Escort. The BMW was much slower.
Yeah, we actually did a good back-to-back because we took two cars, same road, both cars, new tires.
Yeah.
And I was co-driving both cars, so I didn't do fuck all. I was just sitting there.
Took the Escort first, and he came out of the Escort with a sad head. So I just looked over. I was like,
No, the only thing for me was nice. Like when I drive the M3, for me it's like it fits like a glove. The car, and I could see this with Marty when I went with him in the Escort the first run. I was like, yeah, even if I blindfold him, he can still drive the car. And then for me it was really good the comparison we had with the M3 because obviously the M3 had zero gravel experience. And okay, Marty is an experienced driver, so he's not a driver who needs a year to adapt to the car.
Yeah.
Every driver needs to adapt to a certain style for the car. And if I see when I was with Marty and I saw in the M3 how we had some things where we had to work on for sure compared to the Escorts, but we also could see the points where we were for sure as quick or quicker. But it's hard to say because it's a test. But as far as we know, it looks positive.
Yeah,
but you never know how it goes. You
never know. No, but it does. It has. The car's lots of potential. We're still working on certain areas of the car. It's not a finished project. It won't be for a while. But it's a. You know what it is, Kevin? I think the biggest thing that really I was hoping for, but what I really got was the car. With me, I drove a Group N Evo once. The one rally, hated it. Didn't hate it. I was very glad to have the opportunity to drive the car. It wasn't my car. But was I going to drive an Evo again? No. That thing. I'm a Super 1600 BDA Escort man. I have to come alive inside the car. I have to be fit. There has to be a fire on the car. You know what I mean? There has to be. But that's to me, that's rallying. There has to be a complete madhouse in there.
Assault your senses before.
It has to be your senses. There has to be an engine shaking the bulkhead out of the car. There has to be. That positiveness of a car. The car has to feel positive. The car has to drive well. And with the BDA and the way it revs and the whole thing, it gets me up and it gets me going. And then that's when I drive fast. And my God, coming from a BDA Escort to find that in another vehicle, which I do with the M3, was amazing for me. And that was the biggest thing for me, was finding a car that I have such pleasure in driving. Yes. Because that's why I'm rallying.
Because you want something to stir your emotions. You want something to fire your mojo. Like you're working, rallying for you is a release. It's not. You don't want your rallying to be mundane. You want it to be enjoyable.
That's right, and that's why I think I found such a home with Mats. And his cars, because they are passionate cars. The cars make you feel when you're driving them. They make you happy. That's it, and they make they excite you. And to find that in a car that's not a BDA Escort in the woods, I didn't think that was possible until now.
Because Mats, especially in the UK and Ireland, like there isn't really there's only a Mark II or even a Mark I Escort. Like it's because they're so I don't know, maybe easy is not the right, but such availability of parts, and everybody knows the setup, everybody knows kind of where the limit is with them. To try something new is like, it's a leap of faith, but it's something that obviously it's a passion for you to make this. Look what we have here.
Yeah, and for me, what you have there, it's for me impossible to have here. You know, for me, it's when I remember in 21, the first time I went to Ireland with Breen, we did a test on asphalt, and it was a very nice road. And I always remember, and I always will tell this to the guys here. And we did a test all day, and I said to him at the end of the day, I say, "What did you have to pay for this road?" He say, "What do you mean?" I say, "Yeah, I mean, the road was closed, no police, nothing. So what did you pay?" "Yeah, we pay 0. We just go and drive." I say, "Yeah. If I do that here 2 kilometers, I will have police and everything around. It's impossible. It's impossible."
Yeah.
And then with the gravel, when I went there with Marty a few weeks ago, he sent me a location, and we come there, and it's just a privately owned woods or whatever, and you can do whatever you want. Yeah, it's for me impossible to have here. So for me, it's it's very nice that we can actually build a car that is hopefully competitive and reliable. That's actually the most thing. But for us, testing is a big problem. You know, now I gave Marty the car last week. Yeah, and I said, okay, do whatever you need to do, because for you it's 10 times easier than for me coming over every time back and forward. So yeah, it's like, you know, also with this gravel car, if you look to the asphalt car, before I start selling them, I did 2 or 3 years of driving myself, and then I start to build them and sell them.
Mm-hmm.
This gravel car, like I said, okay, we started a year ago to build a car, but we did zero in development. Like, we just put something together. And then actually after the test in France, that's when we started to work actually on the only thing we had worked out well, because Marty was telling me this from the beginning, that we have enough stroke, like enough travel.
Yeah.
Suspension.
That was the only thing he said. If you can get that to work on the BM, then the car probably will be okay.
Yeah.
And that's the only thing I worked on from the beginning. And everything else, the protection, because when we did the test in France, we had something just broke, just out of nothing.
Aye, but that was one of the toughest test roads you'll ever
Yeah,
get.
that was really bad. It was really bad.
Mm-hmm.
And then then we tried something with the engine configuration, but all in a very, very short time.
Yeah.
Because I had to make sure every time I came to England for Marty, I needed new things to test, because that's for me the only possibility to actually test the car.
Yeah, because there's no point of just, continuing to do the same thing over and over again. You need to be pushing the limits, I suppose.
Yeah, and I was obviously very happy with that. Marty actually committed 120% to the project.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But Kevin, then I rang up Mats last week, and we were talking, and he says, "If the engine of the car, the gearbox of the car's completely stripped, I said, I need the car in 3 days." He said, "Okay." Car.
We did it, eh? Don't ask me how, but we.
But that's it. I said, "I need the car in 3 days. The van will be there for it."
Yeah.
Engine reconfigured, dyno tested, gearbox sorted, all the bits and pieces sorted from the last rally into the back of the trailer, van full of parts, and back to Ireland for Donegal.
Yeah, and then the only thing that went wrong was the trailer broke down.
That's right. And here, you still made a call halfway through Belgium. The wheelbearing went in the trailer. You made a call. The guy lands out with another trailer, lifts out a trailer and away. The guy still made the boat.
Yeah, it was funny. So we had everything with the car actually went easy. Sometimes something goes easy, like, okay, we had a car completely stripped.
Mm-hmm.
Because we had a few things after the last rally, even when we just did 10 kilometers. Sometimes 10 kilometers can be more useful than 100 kilometers,
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So we changed some few things, prepped already for REC. And then Martin called me, I need the car in 3 days. I say, okay. Well, we had engine, everything was off. So no rear subframe, nothing was on. We put all together, dynoed everything. And then the only thing we didn't do, because Marty's trailer was with us for 1 year.
Yeah.
Standing still in a corner. And I said to my guys, okay, check lights and check tire pressure. They did. And then the guy drove, I think, 1.5 hours, and he called Elsedin, the wife of Marty. Yeah, trailer broke down.
But we'll take that one because the car kept going.
Yes. And, Marty, you're going into the RAC, 4-time champion. Like, this year, like, it's an extremely solid, like, there's no Oliver Solberg, there's no Chris Meek, But all the guys are going there. They're either historic champions or guys that's done the RAC numerous times. They all know what it takes to make this rally work.
That's right.
It's going to be a tough year this year.
It's going to be here. It's tough. It's tough every year, but this year's going to be exceptionally tough. You've got such a strong field. You've got Matt and Oisín's going to go off on their own wheels, because it's their backyard. So you have to take that. You have to take the event for what it is. Jason's going to be everywhere. You know what I mean? And then the rest of the field's just going to be right on the back of your heels. Mm-hmm. So you've got all that to contend with. But at the end of the day, I thought to myself, well, I didn't feel like going again in the Escort anyway, because I've done it a few times now. And it is what it is. But when Mats and me started talking about this gravel project, I says, I'll take this to the RAC, something different. And should look at the atmosphere and the reaction we got from just in Donegal. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Imagine what's going to be like when the car finishes 5 days at the RAC. Mats.
No pressure.
No pressure.
We take it day by day, no pressure.
But no, and that's what's inspiring me to do it, because it is new, it's unfounded, it's fun. Nobody knows where to drop their hat with me. No. You know what I mean? In this car. You know what I mean? So that's a great thing about it, and neither do I. No. But that's great. I don't go to rallying to win them. I go to rallying to go rallying around corners, to go driving, to go have fun, to go do the event. Of course we can be competitive, we'll give it a damn good go, but after that, man, let's go and enjoy ourselves.
Fantastic to have Mats and Marty on, and so looking forward to following the RAC now to see how they get on with that BMW. Kevin, you have a wee fondness for Ladas, so you'll be looking forward.
Noticed before.
No, exactly. You'll be looking forward to the next segment with Daniel.
Yeah, without a doubt. I have admired Shane McGirr's car for so long. Just envious, and to see it out in other hands as well too. Bit strange, but fair play to Daniel. He drove it the same way as Shane done. They just grab it with the neck and get the best out of it. And for his first time in gravel, brilliant. Fair play to him. He was in third place, but unfortunately he got nipped in the very last stage. A puncher just robbed him of the podium. What can we say? Brilliant. Hopefully Daniel gets out in the gravel a wee bit more too. But we had a chat there. He loved the Lada, he loved gravel rallying. We also touched a wee bit on his tarmac rallying as well too. So another very interesting conversation. So let's hear from Daniel.
Oh, Kevin, we certainly did, and it was that and more along with it. Another few stages we would have been looking for, maybe not physically, because Forest definitely takes it out of you. A lot of driving. A lot of turning, a lot of twisting. Paddy, I'm sure he'll say a lot of calling.
Because you really were spoilt there at the weekend. Most forestry stages are maybe 6-7 mile long at most. You had a 14 kilometre and into a 16 kilometre. Mighty really good long stages put on by the club there as well.
Oh no, they were brilliant. Now it was as you say, to get into the first one there, 14k. I was kind of thinking it really would have taken it out of us to get through it, and you're watching the cars moving constantly on the road, so you've no time to take your eye off the road. And before you knew it, really, you were at the end of it. And mine was the first stage was around I think 9.5, 10 minutes long. And that's a hell of a long time to be swinging at a ladder through hard.
And the first time on the list as well too.
First time on the loose, I go back the first rally I ever done was 2007. So it was coming up on nearly 20 years now, and you're kind of thinking you would have got to the loose before now, but I suppose just the way things fall, and maybe some of the years the Forest Rally's gone past, you might have been thinking of going to somewhere else. So after your budget for the tarmac, so you kind of was hard to fit everything in. But this year now, we kind of thought, after Bobby Sharkey kind of made a slight suggestion, when she was sitting in his shed, he was like, that man might hire that car if you were interested in the run, and that's how it kind of come about then. So he chatted to Shane, and I'd say Shane thought about it for a while. Maybe before he gave her out.
Who's this lunatic?
But long story short, that's how we ended up with the Lada for the day. And I reached out to Paddy, and Paddy wasn't out since 2020 two with me, just busy with everything too, and I kind of said, local rally, we'll go out for the day's crack, and that's certainly what we had.
Yeah, because that's the one thing about the forestry rally. It's not the same commitment. You're not away doing a recce and all that. It is, there is obviously a bit of work beforehand, going through the DVD and tidying up notes and one thing and another. Not the same pressure. And then when you get in with no expectation, probably a bit more enjoyable too.
Oh, certainly. It was very relaxed run up to it. As you say, you got the DVD. We had a look through it here on the Wednesday evening, and made a few adjustments to the notes. I was actually away then Thursday and Friday. I wasn't back to Friday night. So on Saturday morning, we just had another quick look over it and made one or two more adjustments to the notes, and away we went at it and just got into the first stage, and we said we'll just get through her here and see where we're at the end of it, and not try and do anything too crazy and put the car on the road. But I suppose kind of caught us in the hop then, because I kind of looked at it on the entry list and thought that was your running position, and then the tides were turned then.
Oh yeah, reverse seating, yeah.
An RAC winner was starting behind us on the road. It definitely spiced the thing up a wee bit. And then three.
Yeah, but what a great bunch of lads you have around you there too. You say Marty McCormack, Sam Stewart, Q McQuaid, all them guys. They all just are really total jungle bunnies. They just love the gravel,
yeah,
and I'm sure they were very helpful and plenty of advice for you too.
Oh yeah, we were chatting away, and it was some crack even there. Rory Kennedy was sitting on with Marty, and you're starting the car ahead of Rory and the legend and the amount of rallying that he has done, and it is good. I laugh with him because I actually turned around one time, the back door of the Lada before the start line was swinging open, and I got out to close it, and I could see he was busting himself laughing with this. But I cracked the door swinging open on her, and I suppose that's what it's all about too, having a laugh, and you see them lads there, they're competing away, and you might see them on stage in interviews, but when you're chatting, you might think, Christ, these are serious operators, and they are, but when you're actually with them chatting, they're just completely down to earth, and just enjoy the same things that you do, and have the back of it, how the car is handling on the road, and it's a nice environment to be in.
Yeah, for sure. And I suppose on the tar, you don't want the car moving about. You want it, to kind of go where you point it. And it must even to get that into your head that's not what you're going to expect on gravel. The car's moving about so much more. You want it to slide about.
You do, and I suppose with the tarmac, a small adjustment is a big jump, and you make one move, click here, one click there, and it changes the car a hell of a lot. Whether it is in the forestry, I suppose we didn't know what to expect, and we couldn't tell you if the car was right or was wrong, but it felt very right in a way, and it moved lovely and turned in lovely, and thought maybe the more aggressive you were with the car on the corner, thrusting it in the corners and throwing it into the corner, the easier she actually became to drive. I thought when you were going in and maybe a bit hesitant on the entries of the corners, you were leaving it a bit harder on yourself, so the more you put it into it and trusted the car, the more that you actually realised, right, this is what this thing wants to do. So just gunner into them and hold on tight.
Say a few prayers. But
Exactly.
and with Shane, obviously it would be a great build, and and the build up to the event, he wants the best, for you and for the car as well too, because it showcases what he has as well.
Oh, absolutely. And again, I forgot to ask him if anybody else hired the car or not, so I'm sure he was probably nervous enough, because he does think a lot of that car, and rightly so, because she's a real wolf in sheep's clothing, that thing, so I'm sure he is delighted that we can put someone that's never in the forest into it and come out of it with a pretty decent result, which is good. I know we ended up in last stage, we got a blowout in the tyre just about halfway into it, or maybe shortly after it, and we just nursed her through it as easy as we could to get to the end of it, and actually ended up only 0.9 of a second off the podium. So we kind of were second, and with the stage being cancelled, we had the second run over stage 1 was our second stage.
Yes.
It cut up fairly bad, and I kind of like didn't realise that maybe you don't need to care about that. You just horse through it, and that's for the time, because I kind of some of the corners I was kind of dodging around a few stones and bits and pieces, and I kind of got to the end of the stage and we were absolutely cleaned on it, and I said, right, that's where they're making the time. And so we went into the first run over stage 4 then. Wouldn't be great. I can't think of the name of that actual stage, but it was a lot more compact, a lot faster, and that's when we started to see when she go through chicanes and kind of third gear and stuff like that. But she does, but we only done it once.
You did another day at her first before you fully commit again. But like, I suppose like with this whole thing, like even the size of the car, the width of the car, all those wee things are so different from where you're coming out of from the Escort. I would say you could put the Escort nearly through the eye of a pin now at this stage, but or the eye of a needle, sorry. But this is just, everything's different. Your seating position's different. You know, the even what you're looking out through the windscreen's different.
Oh yeah. She's I says to Shane, Christ, this thing's like a panoramic view. She's far, the windscreen's far wider than the so you'd actually great vision out of her. The seating position, everything was perfect in her, with very, very light, very few adjustments to make like that. Didn't have to move the steering column. It was an easy enough transition now, so I think the only thing I made have to do is move the seat back, and that's about it. He's good to go for 5 mile down in her. Definitely, she's a credit to them, and Bobby Sharkey, because it's not everybody would tear into building something new in the unknown. She definitely is a well sorted wee car, and I would love to get her on out in her again some other time.
Yeah, because it really was a passion project for Shane. You know, he worked in a lot of garage, and he was coming up and serving his trade and all. And like as you say, it's not the most obvious choice. It would have been very easy to build an All Starlet or an Escort, or the conventional thing. But to take on a Lada, which we all know like is the brunt of many a joke, but to show what the car is capable of, and a winner car as well.
Oh, 100%. And I know Shane has cleaned up in the past in that machine, and I'm sure he will continue to do so in the future. And she's definitely like a fan favourite, because everywhere we went, there's a phone stuck in her. So everybody is kind of mad to get pictures with her, and this was the whole novelty of it. But I suppose for anybody that's racing against Shane knows that she's not just a novelty, that he can make her move, and she's very much to be feared on the stages and the loose.
Because how steady Eddie's not that steady when he gets back in behind the wheel over, sure he's not.
No, definitely not. Yeah.
And then, like for you, like it's been, you don't get out an awful lot through the year, and then when you do get out, you're kind of having to get back up to speed again. But we could see it now for the last couple of events there, like Cork 20, phenomenal result. Second behind your good buddy and neighbour Daniel McKenna, like that's right. That has to be probably one of your best runs yet, is it?
It would be. I suppose like the modified stuff, like when we would have built the car, we'd have probably been competing for maybe inside just the top 20 in modified, and stuck with her and made a few boo-boos here and there. It's not all plain sailing in the modifying, because I suppose the first thing we done when we built the car was I always struggled with the old Corolla. I suppose with mechanical issues, and when I stepped away from the rally in 2011, I said I'm not going back near it until I have a car that is well capable and doesn't give any hassle like this anymore. Because I remember in the Corolla, I think we competed in 7 or 8 rallies in one year, and finished one of them. It was all mechanical failures, and it's painful how time to go through that when you're running with no money running them yokes is a bad position to be in at the time. And I suppose then when we built Esther, we just decided, right, we'll do it and do it right. We'll build as up to date one as we can, and that's what we did. Marty Taggart built the car first, and we had, I suppose, all the toys that you could put into it, the paddle shift and everything else that kind of goes with it, with the latest suspension and the what they were moving then to the early days of the R5 type brakes and stuff.
Yes.
So that was a big learning curve to get into a car with all this new stuff kind of in it at the time. Like the first road rally we done with it was the 21 Harvest. It was around local here.
Yeah.
One of the stages actually just finished up past the house, so it was a good tester to get out in there. And, we finished that rally third, two-wheel drive. Kevin won it, Kevin Eves, and Gary Kieran second. I think we were third, and that was a good result out in the car. And went to Killarney. Got a bit of an eye-opener there when you go outside the local roads from here. The pace was well up, but I think we're around 15th and that, so you went from maybe 3rd to 15th, and that's kind of hovered around there for quite a while. Then could have started to get in around the top 10 and maybe a few top 8 times. I like that, trying to get enough time in the car.
Yeah.
You're trying to balance a bit of work, and you're trying to balance family of 3 young kids, and you're trying to keep a fair balance with everything. And the rallying, as you say, with the recce and everything, not in taking international rallies into it, but even the national rallies is still a fair chunk of time away. And it's, if the rally's on a Sunday, it's still taking up a good bit of your Friday, trying to get organised and plans loaded. Saturday recceing and back up Sunday evening. So we then went ahead then, and I suppose we had a few accidents in the car, and I decided right, time to knock her back a bit more to basic. So we took off the big brakes, took off the kind of R5 stuff, put back on stuff that would have been maybe put on escorts, and I don't know, any escorts would have been built around 2010, 2015, up around that era. That was the paddle shift was taken out of her as well. And when I got into the car after that, then I found that she was starting to suit me a bit better. I was getting a bit more confidence, and just worked on it from there, and done a lot of work then trying to see in the recce's and stuff like that. And
yes, you're starting to do your own notes, and kind of.
No, I wasn't doing my own notes as such. I still haven't done.
Yeah.
I always use Duffy's there, and on the pace note, and kind of just make a few small changes to them here and there, whatever suits the car. That.
Yes.
I suppose when you're starting then to see a lot of results, you're kind of getting a bit more heart in it, and started to ask young Mark McGeehan then sit in for a couple of runs as well. Paddy was kind of getting a bit too much time for us all. And I asked Mark, could he sit in for a run, and I found Mark a fantastic navigator, and he had a few wee secrets up his sleeve too, you know. And he kind of helped build on that pace, and done a few rallies up around the Northern Championship just with him. And then we kind of moved then to Donegal. This year would have been a good strong result for us up until the Sunday. We were the first escort on the road on the Sunday morning, so that was a big step up from where we would have been previous years before that. And Damien Doherty got in, and Damien took to Dr. Water sitting in there, and give you great confidence in the car. And as I say, we Sunday it wasn't to be. The back axle the crown wheel broke, and that was our Sunday called a halt, and took good positives from it.
Yeah, that's that, as you say, that was a massive step from where you were even probably the previous year. So you have to take the positives and make the best of them.
100%, and it's kind of rewarding, because anybody that thinks they can maybe buy a modified car, and I'm sure there's some people that can, but it's a long road to getting decent results. You have to stick with it, and it's very testing. It'll be very easy just to throw the towel in and say, no, this is not for me. It's funny when you start to get a bit more seat time in the car, you actually feel like you're not driving it as hard, and that's when the time's starting to come a wee bit. You're kind of more consistent through the stage, and hopefully now we just get a good plan in place for next year. And we have a good team of lads around us there in service too, and there's always taking a bit of crack element to it as well. They enjoy the hustle and bustle of it all, and the pressure does be on at times and one thing and another. So it's good to have all that going too.
And maybe another run on the list before too long as well.
I would never say never. We'll make a plan for Tyre for next year anyway, and we'll see how that goes. And it's funny, speaking of that, the first thing on Monday morning I got from Paddy was a link on rally cars for sale, Lada. So he's kind of
watch this space,
pushing away there now, thinking this could be a bit of crack.
So thanks very much here to Daniel and all our guests, and what can we say, that's the latest episode of Krunching Gears, the Rally Podcast. Please like, share, rate, subscribe, and thank you very much for listening, and until the next time, take care, speak soon, and bye.
That's the proudest day and the proudest time in the seat of a rally car, because that day and that hour and those minutes, I got the bit between my teeth. You know, I really stood up and was counted and said, this is not getting away. I remember when we pulled on our helmets and Donald says to me, what are we doing? I said, we're going for gold, Barrett. That's all we said. I can still picture that run. That was just the best run ever.